Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Was Born in the Uzumaki clan. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Raised by the Hyuga clan and enjoy that guys. And over on Anime King 2, I also post a new episode of What If Naruto Got His Memories Sealed Away. So go ahead and enjoy that. And I also posted the final episode of What If Naruto is a Smart Prodigy. As usual guys, don't be sad because you know new what ifs are coming up soon for you guys to enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Naruto clashed against Kisame ferociously, as the both of them came to a stalemate when Kisame stopped, as he asked Naruto what is his true goal, as Naruto told him that in this world people desire power, but he's going to truly change this world. He's going to break down everything and change it in every way. As Kisame was shocked, as Naruto asked Kisame what is his goal, as Kisame told him. As Naruto was surprised, he thought that Kisame was a simple hunter nin, but the man was much more. As Kisame agreed to be his eyes and ears in Kiri, as the both of them start a partnership, working towards changing this world. When Akainu woke up, she was pissed at Naruto, as she was happy at the same time. She then came to a realization, he must be hurting after the fall of Uzumaki. All she has done is try to throw herself at him. When he arrived at the cave, she wasn't angry or anything, but Naruto's body get the shock of everything. Even his eye regenerated because of his Uzumaki genes, as he passed out because of his fatigue. When he woke up, Akainu was on top of him, as he know that some man doth love to have this opportunity, but for him, he was just broken. Because he cannot find this enjoyable. This world was just broken to him. As he knows that he will have to make sure that she moves on and be with someone happy to make her life happy. At Konoha, Kushina was talking to little Obito. He was Minato's son. Because of what happened in the past, of her Naruto getting taken away, that led to her and Minato breaking up. Mikoto has always had a thing for Minato, so in that time period, a junk sleeping together caused her to get pregnant and bear young Obito. And seeing that the woman was lonely without her son and her world seemed to be shattering, Mikoto wanted Obito to get to know Kushina as well, as the woman didn't want Kushina to fall in depression. So she came to like this boy, as he'd been coming here and even sleeping here most of the time, as she wouldn't want to replace him with Naruto, but he's become a big part of her heart as well, as he vowed to her to promise to get back Naruto no matter what, and make him come back at the village. Naruto also told Kisame the name of his goal, his new team that he will create to change his world, the Akatsuki. We then skip back at the cave as Naruto was trying to push Mikoto and Nagato away, because he didn't want to come. He wanted to change the world. He wanted them to continue on the legacy with the Uzumaki clan until they fully change this world, as he was going to go to the Hidden Rain with them, as Hanzo would love to have the backing of the Uzumaki clan with the remaining backing and the Fuinjutsu art on his side. So that was their plan now, but they will have to serve under Hanzo, And Naruto told Nagato that he will be the good leader of the clan, a good leader of the Uzumakis. So yeah guys, that was basically that's how we left off. You guys can switch across to the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say we begin this new episode? We begin this episode 1 week later, after their talk. Naruto and Nagato talking about the Hidden Rain. As the Uzumaki now stood on the border of the Hidden Rain, the country that was forever plagued by a downpour, like the village was literally crying every day. Currently seated on top of Akaino's largest vulture summon, Naruto was observing the city beneath them. Nagato was beside him, as well as Akaino, with the nervous Uzumaki children behind them, their fate now solely in the hands of the last 3 soldiers of Uzu. As Nagato noticed a slight frown on Naruto's face, and so did Akaino. "What is it?" Akaino asked, as she saw Nagato even start to concentrate. Unlike the boys, she couldn't sense from such a long distance. She was further irritated when the both boys shared a grim nod, as they were not answering her question. "It seems I underestimated this nation," Naruto said bitterly. "This is the nearest border town, but there are several squads of strong shinobis here. Not to mention," said Nagato in a mysterious tone, "I don't understand, since when does a border town start to get this heavy force for protection?" said Akaino, as she saw Naruto gaze fixate on a small patch of mountains that were a few kilometers away from the town. Akaino couldn't see or feel anything in that place, yet Naruto's entire attention was fixed over there. "I guess our bad luck never ends." "Nagato, prepare for battle," said Naruto. "Are you sure?" said Nagato as his hand went towards his tanto. "We've already been detected, running out would only complicate things, and also destroy any chance of us ever finding a place in the rain. We have to fight," said Naruto. "Can someone tell me what the hell is going on?" Akaino shouted. She couldn't say it out loud, but she was scared. There was only a handful of time when she had seen that look on Naruto's face, and every memory of it was dreadful. First when Uzu fell, and then Kisame, and now. "I don't have time to explain right now, Akaino. I want you to stay here and protect the children. Under no circumstances are you to intervene," said Naruto icily. He raised his hand as she opened her mouth to protest. "I am the team leader and you will obey my order. If not for anything, at least trust me, for their sake." As he pointed towards the worried children who were holding on to each other tight. She sighed as she stepped forward as she engulfed the both of them in a hug. "Be careful," she said, earning a nod from 2 boys. As Nagato looked down, as he looked over at Naruto, the problem was they were high up in the air, and taking the bird down wasn't the solution. "Hold on to me, Nagato," said Naruto, as he gripped his friend's hand. "Why do I get the feeling I won't like..." Akaino and the children were shocked when both boys turned to thick, dark smoke. In the dark night and the shining moon, it was a sight to behold. The smoke went around the bird one last time to confirm their safety before descending down towards the ground. She has never seen something like this. It was clear. It was similar to Sunshin, as she knew that Nagato won't like that experience, because that was quite different from everything else. Moments later, Nagato was puking out his guts as he glared up at Naruto, who was watching him with that amusement on his face. "What the hell was that?" Nagato said, as he coughed some more. "Tell you what, if we survive this, I'll tell you all about this technique." "If?" said Nagato. "Watch my back, Nagato," said Naruto calmly, as Nagato came up behind him. "As if I have a choice," said Nagato, as he pulled his weapon and started to scan his surroundings. He realized that Naruto transported them right into the midst of town, but instead of being met with the face of the terrified civilians, the entire town was deserted. But Nagato could feel the faint sources as they were lurking in the shadows. "I count 90, Naruto said. "What do we do about the ones on the mountain?" asked Nagato. "If my guess is right, then we have to reach them. If we are going to become a part of the rain, we have to do it legally, with the permission of the ruler. Sneaking into these countries like spies and hide won't work for long." "What? You purposely brought us here then?" said Nagato, as Naruto glanced away, looking a bit ashamed, as a silent rage built inside Nagato. While he trusts his friend with his life, Naruto's secretive nature was really getting on his last nerves. "This isn't a town, is it?" said Nagato. "No, this is the frontier of the Hidden Rain, home to a small garrison force. I received information that Hanzo was inspected such frontiers that the Hidden Rain share with Konoha and the Sand. Know that war is inevitable between the 2 great villages," said Naruto. Nagato's head snapped towards the mountain as a horrible feeling started to build up in his gut. This wasn't some accidental encounter, but a planned battle his friend has chosen between Hanzo and his man. "If we survive this, Naruto, then we're going to have more than a few words," said Nagato in a murderous tone. Meanwhile, Naruto was grateful that Nagato didn't ask where the information came from, as Kisame said that the information was correct, and Hanzo would never allow the Uzumaki to join his village unless they show firsthand their power in battle and the skill they possess, the different ninja arts. It was this reason Naruto came here alongside Nagato. His friend was capable and skilled at Fuin Jutsu and Ninjutsu and was a capable warrior. Hanzo must already sense Akaino's summon in the air, and she was a medic. He couldn't afford to risk her life so recklessly, and she would also throw a rage fit if she learned about this. Nagato was more calm than her, but Naruto knew that this was a great risk. If things went wrong, he will make sure that his people and Nagato escape safely. The figures then emerged from the shadows as Nagato shivered a bit, not from the figures but from the sinister presence being born. Looking back, he was shocked to what he saw. Waves upon waves was emerging from Naruto. It was pure dark chakra. A dark cloak made up of that sinister energy was covering Naruto's back. But the thing that scared Nagato was those eyes. For his one paired blue color eyes was now red like blood and slits. Dark whisker marks covered his cheeks as his teeth became razor sharp like fox. As a feeling of misery, death, murder, and anger and pain and suffering was released on all of them. Is this the power of the dark side? Nagato thought, fearful, as Naruto pointed his finger towards the now shivering rain ninjas. "I will try not to kill you," he said, as his voice sounded more demonic and dark, sounded like death itself. In the faraway mountains a few miles away from the hidden rain borders stood two people, their eyes observing the upcoming battle. This upcoming battle was extremely crucial for the hidden rain survival. One of the people was a tall, bald man who was wearing the traditional clothing of the samurais and the armor with a sword strapped to his waist. He was fair in complexion and had a wavy mustache. There was a deep scar running from his left eye to the center of his cheek, as his dark eyes were widened as he felt the sinister energy wash over to him. Beside him stood a tall young woman. She was wearing a short skirt and a blue shirt with an armor of a mysterious clan no one in the hidden rain knew about, except for its leader. She had long, beautiful blonde hair that reached deep up to her waist. Her silver eyes were also fixed on the town as a smile came on her face. "Interesting," she whispered. "Yes, the force is unbelievable in this child," the man said, making the woman frown a little. "Mifune, how many times must I tell you? It's called chakra. You samurais never learn, do you?" asked the woman the irritated voice, as Mifune simply smiled. "Come now, Galatea. What different the terms when the meanings are the same," said Mifune. "Humans should respect each other's and their cultures." "Fine, but you owe me an explanation where you got the information that such shady people are going to infiltrate our nation," said Galatea flatly, as Mifune remained stoic. He was a little worried when he saw the slight fear in her eyes. She was one of the best hunters in the entire world. Apart from that, she had a unique power that only her apprentice had mastered, to an extent. He knew if Galatea wanted to stop this, then there was nothing anyone could do to stop her from stopping this battle. But there was much more larger games at play right now, and the fact that Galatea seemed a little shaken, it was shown that their opponent down there was a dangerous one. "Galatea." The both of them froze a bit as they turned and bowed in front of the person. Hanzo, the salamander, stood in front of them, the revolutionary leader, as he was wearing a blue shirt and a grey pants covered by a flap jacket and a dark blue cloak floating behind him. It was hard to believe that the leader of the Rains had a modern taste like this, as his face was covered by a breathing mask, his dirty blonde hair flowing in the air. As his eyes focused on his two top commanders, Mifune still felt grateful for finding such a leader. Hanzo not only reformed the crumbling hidden rain, but he also found a path for peace for the samurais, who were tired. His people had not yielded easy to Hanzo. Only after the bloody war did they allow themselves to ally with Hanzo, as they saw the vision the man had, a true peaceful world. As he forbade his ninjas from taking assassination missions or murderous mission. They just take jobs like protecting merchants from bandits. It reduces the Hinarine income, but the samurais were more than ready to make up for the losses as they supplies the place with their resources and power, as both of them were working together. So when they received information from a shady source that a few shady people tried to infiltrate the Hinarine, Hanzo wanted to crush them to show them that unlike the previous time when the rain was weakened and they were attacked from all ends, this time the rain and the samurai nation will not bow down to any other great nation. Galaxia felt Hanzo's gaze resting on her, waiting for answer. They are about 60 of them, mostly children, but they are staying far away from the battle. I can sense a kunoichi, keeping those children safe, on top of a flying creature in the sky, said Galaxia, her eyes still closed. What about the ones in the town? Asked Mifune seriously. There are 2 of them, one of them is strong, probably a tuning level ninja. Both of them are males, said Galaxia. And the other? The one whose power is radiating across our lands, said Hanzo, making Galaxia flinch a bit. I have never felt anything like this before, Hanzo-sama. Speak freely, Galaxia, said Hanzo, seeing her hesitating, as Hanzo wasn't affected by this monstrous power, as he was just watching it in front of him. The other boy is corrupted. He's too corrupted with the darker side of chakra, and I fear he is very skilled in using his dark arts to his advantage, Galaxia said. Hanzo just looked down that strange glee in his eyes, as he could feel this dark aura getting stronger and stronger by the second pass. We live in interesting times, said Hanzo. Sir, said Galaxia, uncertain of what her leader wanted. You're right, Galaxia. This ninja is strong with the dark side, but I don't feel his intent to kill or wreak havoc. It is like he's inviting us to watch his battle, said Hanzo, making Mifune stare in shock. Then, you mean? Yes, Mifune. The tip that was sent to you was no coincidence. There are several different ways to get inside of our land without being noticed, but they chose to confront us. Either they're stupid or have a plan, but I have a feeling who these people are. Who is that, Sir? Galaxia asks. The Uzumakis. Mifune and Galaxia look at each other in shock, as neither of them were aware of this fact. But yes, as they look at Hanzo, the look in his eyes show that he knew more than he was letting on, as Hanzo had traveled a lot across his world before returning to his village to bring forth a revolution. There were so many things this man had seen, done, and experienced before returning to guide his followers. What do you intend to do about them, Hanzo-sama? Said Mifune briefly. It seems the rumors about this clan's strength was not false after all, if they have such a dangerous ninja in their ranks, said Hanzo. Hanzo-sama, then, said Galaxia. With a smile came on her face, but it was quashed as Hanzo looked at her. With a harsh look in his eyes, he quickly turned the face back down. There must be something extraordinary about these people, and this boy as well, if they were able to survive such hardship on their own. If they manage to get past my soldiers and get to this mountain, I will at least honor their requests and listen to them on equal grounds. But if they can't reach there without my mercy or overcoming my soldiers, then they have no damn right to make any demands of me. With those harsh words, he walked away, leaving 2 stunned commanders behind. Mifune, what shall we do? Galaxia asked. We have no choice but to follow Hanzo's will, said Mifune. But because of this, there will be unnecessary bloodshed on both sides, said Galaxia, as Mifune stared it down. Then we can just only hope that the Uzumaki reach here, without causing too much bloodshed. Although, I doubt they can actually get past Angel, said Mifune, as she got a brief smile from Galaxia, as she thought about her apprentice. I hope so. But what if that boy managed to reach here, said Galaxia. If that happened and they tried to harm Hanzo, as the man reached for his sword and held onto it tight, then we will protect him with our life. Understood, she said, a nod. Meanwhile, Naruto relics that fearful look the rain ninjas had. This fear, it was giving him more power. The only reason why Kisame matched his power because Kisame, he didn't have any fear in him. But Naruto was sure given a few more years, there will hardly be a handful of ninja who can stand up to him as he grows stronger by the day go on. Although he could have go better without feeling Nagato's fear, as he glanced at his friend's red eyes, as Nagato flinched a bit, but he turned his gaze. As he became serious, Naruto simply smirked. From every direction, hundreds of explosive tags from kunais and shurikens were thrown towards them. Naruto simply smirked as he clasped his right hand, Instead of hitting their targets, the weapons struck each other as they were obliterated. Even Nagito smirked on seeing the surprised look on the Rain Ninjas' faces. The next attack came very soon as Nagito saw many umbrellas being launched into the air. Pathetic, Naruto whispered as he stepped forward. Before the umbrellas could even open up fully, they crumbled and turned to dust. Naruto lowered his raised hand as he glared at the hidden Rain Ninjas. "Is that the best you can do?" Naruto said, in his demonic tone. A few angry scowls were heard as a group charged towards him. The approaching ninjas, they seemed just like Chunin, they were young. But Nagito saw that look in his friend's eyes that made him flinch. The dark power was starting to consume Naruto. His friend didn't even care that these people were nowhere near his power. As Naruto pointed his hand towards the approaching shinobi, dark illusion. As he entered their minds, he could feel the raw anger of invading their country that they were feeling and insulting them so openly. He lashed himself to that anger and started to plant images in their mind. The rest of the ninjas watched as their comrades just stopped. The 5 ninjas then knelt before Naruto as they pulled out their blades and turned and pointed them towards their own friends. "What are you?" said a young Rain Chunin, as her eyes were wide with fear looking at Naruto. Naruto answered that question by unleashing his puppets on them. Nagito could only stare in horror as they tried to stop their friends, without outright killing them. As Naruto simply stood there with the uncaring look in his dark eyes. "Kill them if you want, Nagito." "I don't care," Naruto said. "You don't mean that," said Nagito, as Akeno warned him about the repercussions of Naruto using his dark powers. To this extent, but only now can he see the drastic changes that they were bringing. It was like Naruto was becoming someone else. Something else. As he watched a twisted smile on Naruto's lips that gleamed in his eye like he was enjoying the chaos that he caused. It was just for a moment, but Nagito saw it. The madness, the bloodlust, the rage, the twisted look Nagito had read about this. It was seen in one specific beast. The Kyuubi. Kushin had been the Jinjulchi of that malicious fox, and Naruto gained his power from that ancient beast. It seemed Naruto absorbed a part of that small part of that hateful beast's soul in his own, which is brought forward in Naruto to use his power to such an extent. Nagito's thought process was destroyed when several painful screams could be heard. Nearly 40 Rain Ninjas were hanging in the air. Man, woman, teenagers. They were young. They hadn't even completed their teenager years. They were desperately grasping at their throats. As he looked down to see Naruto, that sick, twisted smile on his lips. "Humans like you don't deserve to live," Naruto said. Nagito yelled out in horror, as he knew if Naruto clenched his fist, he would snap their necks. Killing the Rain Ninjas were never his intention, but it looked like Naruto cannot control himself anymore. Before Nagito could intervene, Naruto heard his voice as the victims dropped on the ground. As Naruto stepped back, "Nagito, what happened?" he asked. But Naruto then turned, as Nagito see what he was looking at. There was a woman floating in the air. She was a teenager, as wings were coming from her back. They were made of paper, as she had shoulder-length blue hair that was blowing, and she was also wearing a Jonin vest. As Naruto looked at her, she was beautiful, and those determined look in her eyes. The fire that burned those eyes, it was intoxicated. It was like a moth to a flame. Just one look in her eyes showed that this was a person equally strong in their beliefs, and she would go through any hardship to protect them. Almost every Rain Ninja sighed in relief. "Angel," they said, as Nagito looked up shocked, as the girl summoned endless of paper circling in the sky, as she blocked out the moon rain over them. To the amount of paper circling she summoned. "This ends here," the girl said, as she rained down the weapons. But he then saw Naruto's body burst into thick, dark smoke. It then took the shape of a skeleton skull, as he started to dash towards her. As everyone watched, soon as he was close enough, Naruto returned back to his normal self. As Nagito saw those blood-red eyes again, Naruto raised his 2 fingers. He pointed towards the gigantic spear of weapons coming down at him. Dark lightning. Violent bolts of dark purple lightning started to shoot from Naruto's fingers. He knew Naruto could do ninjutsu, but this is the first time he saw him combine it with the dark power that he has, and the effects were truly frightening. A few unfortunate ninjas got hit and collapsed instantly, as her spear connected with the lightning. Panic spread on the battlefield. Even Nagato wasn't spared, as he had to jump away from several bolts coming down on him. As he reached into his pouch and pulled out 4 seals, as he threw them to 4 corners of the battlefield. As his hands went through hand sign, "Seal," he said. A large rectangular barrier was created, protecting him and the rain ninjas from the attacks. As Nagato turned towards them that were stunned, "Stay still, and don't leave the barrier if you don't want to die," said Nagato. "Why should we listen to you?" a younger one said. As Nagato pointed his finger towards Naruto, and his psychotic laughter as he fought against Angel. "Fine, if you want to go out there and get slaughtered in the battle between those two, then be my guest," said Nagato. Nagato saw a few of them flinch, but some of them were pissed. "Kill him," they said. "Stupid idiots, if he died, the barrier would collapse and their life would be in danger. Not to mention Naruto will slaughter them all." So for their sakes, Nagato had to take them out without causing too much damage to them. Their mission was to intimidate, not to kill. "So much for that," said Nagato as he saw his best friend attack the Angel of the Rain ferociously. With a tired sigh, he brought his Tonto forward as he dealt with the Rain Ninjas. Meanwhile, Naruto snarled as he saw the remaining Rain Ninjas try to kill his best friend. As he wondered, why did Nagato create a barrier to save those dumb fools? "Your compassion is going to be the death of you someday," thought Naruto. The rage in his heart only made him more determined to end this battle. Whoever this girl was, she was good. To handle this onslaught of dark attacks were no small feat. But Nagato's life was at risk, and he will not let his friend die. With great force, Naruto pushed more of his chakra into his attack. The lightning attack teared through her paper weapons like ease, and went towards her, as she was slightly surprised. Apart from this girl, he knew that the rest of them were considerably weaker, but she twisted her body as lightning attack passed her. "Impossible," Naruto said. As he clenched his fist, "It seems the rain is not as talentless as I thought." As Naruto looked at her, and he couldn't feel any emotion at all, neither anger or fear or nervousness. She just stared at him with those eyes, and it unnerved him a little. It was hard taking a lot of his chakra to keep himself in the air. Manipulating wind chakra was not an easy task. On the other hand, this angel was using her paper transformation for flying. Not only did he consume less chakra, but he also granted her more agility and speed. She had the advantage. "Guess I'll just have to overwhelm her with brute force," Naruto thought seriously, as he slammed his hands together. Fire release. Burning missiles. She watched as he brought forward a barrage of twisted flames. But instead of being the normal fire color, they were pitch black. Even the heat radiated from the flames, they smelled foul and corrosive. If she got hit by that, it would burn but make her skin crumble as well. As a tornado of flames transformed into a large missile aiming right for her head, she saw the boy grinning darkly, seeing her about to move. He was powerful, she had to give him that, but he had a flaw. She was not surprised that it split into a lot of tiny missiles. She knew that one of them could probably burn her out. But instead of panicking, she closed her eyes. Just when the missiles reached her, she burst into pure papers. Naruto attacked a lady with several papers and destroyed them completely. But the remaining ones rushed towards Naruto and surrounded him as he started to spin violently, turned the paper shuriken, slicing him up. Naruto beat back a hiss as he received several brutal cuts over his body as his skin tore apart. He quickly breathed forth a defensive, dark aura to protect his body. And that was when he realized he made a bloody mistake. "It's over," said Mifune. His eyes closed as he turned away from the battle. A moment later, a monstrous blast ripped through half of the town, sending explosive debris everywhere, ripping through several shops and houses. Mifune started to walk away, a slight disappointed look on his face as he witnessed the battle outcome. Angel could not lose to those boys, he already knew that. Now he has to go to Hanzo and request for him to spare the rest of the Uzumaki, seeing that most of them were just children and they didn't deserve to die. But he frowned as his friend didn't move from her spot at all. "Galatea," he said, as he walked back beside her. Galatea was gritting her teeth. "This one is quite strong," she whispered. "You mean?" said Mifune in shock. As Mifune was shocked when another powerful, devastated blast of pure dark, malicious chakra was spread across the entire place, this one being more fearsome and darker and angry. "Konan," said Galatea. It was faint. Even Angel was surprised by his survival, as there was a massive wound in his chest. To think she staked so many explosive tags into the paper storm. And she used my own chakra to set off her explosive. Ingenious, Naruto thought. He values skill and cunningness. Despite being his enemy, she was a valiant foe. But her attack on him caused a bad outcome. The barrier protecting the rain ninjas had exploded. As Naruto could see Nagato fighting off against many squads of rain ninjas, many of them were lying on the ground unconscious because of Nagato, as some of them were injured and unable to fight anymore. And Nagato was holding his own. Two can play this game. Naruto went through hand sign as he slammed his hand on the ground. Earth release. Earth. Flowing spears. She was surprised because at the last second he changed his attack. As she thought he was coming after her, hundreds of spears broke from the ground. As it ripped through a lot of the rain ninjas, their screams could be heard all around. A shower of blood rained down, as all of them got some devastated wound, some of the spears breaking through skin. The few that managed to avoid his attack were on the ground on their knees, shivering in shock and horror. Angel's eyes were slightly wide, unable to hide the pain and anger she was feeling for her comrade's state, as she glared at the boy furiously. Naruto simply smirked. Dark illusion. As she realized she made a mistake, she felt something tear through her mental barrier as it lashed onto her anger, her pain and shock. The surviving ninja couldn't believe when Angel started to scream out, as they couldn't believe what they were seeing. She collapsed on her knees, the pain flowing across her body, making her body tremble, as it was too much. Despite knowing that this was an illusion, a trick, she couldn't stop herself from screaming. From the corner of her eye, she saw the boy staring at her as he tightened his grasp. The pain continued to increase and so did her screams. Her comrades tried to rescue her, but Nagato knocked them down. Nagato arrived beside Naruto, a relief look in his eyes as all of their enemies were defeated. Go to the mountains, Naruto said, his gaze still on the angel of the rain. Okay, but don't you think that you're better suited? Nagato stopped as he saw that murderous look in Naruto's red eyes. You're going to be our clan leader. I done my part in clearing the way. The rest is up to you. What if they refuse? Nagato asked. Naruto simply clenched his fist tighter to make Angel scream even louder. Nagato looked away as he saw tears arriving in the girl's eyes from the unbearable pain, but yet she refused to surrender. Then they can forget about ever seeing any of these warriors alive. Understood, said Nagato, clearly not happy with the method, but his friend didn't seem to care, as Nagato started to dash towards the mountains, where they had felt Hanzo's presence. A part of him was nervous, as the innocent Uzumaki children were at stake right now with the entire clan, and also these rain ninjas, who were innocent at the most. Enough of them were just children, teenagers. And his life was also in danger as well, as he knew that if anything happened to him, Naruto would kill all of those rain ninjas down there. So this would be a problem if things went badly. Seeing that Naruto is a powerful sensor, you will know if something happened immediately. He had no choice but to do this and get it through peacefully. Meanwhile, Mifune had a tight grip on Galantea's shoulders to make sure that she don't charge into town. It was hard for him to accept that Angel was defeated. He really underestimated this clan. He underestimated this boy as well and now they were paying the price. Let me go, Mifune, hissed Galatea, her silver eyes burning with anger. If I do so, you'll be violating Hanzo's orders. I can't let you do that no matter what, said Mifune, as he got a glare from her. But Conan, I am not heartless, Galatea. I know how grave the situation is. You need to keep a steady head right now and think. Our soldiers are hostage right now and at the enemy mercy. If you recklessly charge in, you'll be risking all of their lives. We have to give the enemy a chance to state their demands, said Mifune. Are we negotiating with people who attack our nation, said Galatea, in disbelief, as she couldn't believe it. You know that is not entirely true. Just please, trust Hanzo. He won't let any harm befall his own soldiers, especially on Angel. Galatea closed her eyes in defeat. If anything happened to her. Mifune cut her off. Yes, we will make sure the enemy pay for their crimes. But it won't come to that, Galatea. Have faith, said Mifune. She turned her attention towards the lonely chakra signature that was coming towards them. Meanwhile, Akeno sit on her vulture, as all the Uzumaki children were huddled around her, as they were terrified when that dark chakra spread across the entire area, as she had to put up a genjutsu to keep them from panicking. But even with the genjutsu, they could still feel that terrifying dark chakra, as that made them cuddle up to her, as they were panicking a lot. She was also worried for her best friends gravely. Every second felt like an eternity, as she was forced to stay here while they were out there risking their life. She couldn't lose either of them, no matter how much they were annoying at sometimes. Please be okay, she said, as a lone tear fell from her eye. Meanwhile, Conan watched as her enemy finished trapping all of her comrades into a maintained barrier that was held by the boy clone. He had already bound her ninja wire and he chops chakra suppression seals all over her body. It was difficult for her to accept the fact that she was defeated. Her fists clenched tightly as she failed. She failed to protect her comrades, she failed to protect her nation. She couldn't fulfill her promise to him. She failed. She fixed her gaze on that boy. There was a nasty deep cut across his chest that made her silently smile. At least she didn't allow him a painless victory. She made him little bit pay for the pain that he caused her people. As Conan saw how harshly he was panting, the sweat rolling from his forehead, his hand shaking a bit. You can't control it, can you? Her question making him turn towards her, as she saw that indifferent look in his eyes, like he didn't care one bit. A few minutes ago he was craving for her blood, but now it made her pride of a capable kunoichi feel lessened, like she was nothing compared to him. You fought well. It's a shame you were my opponent. Conan blinked. She didn't expect him to say anything, much as appreciate her skills. She was surprised. Maybe there was more to this mysterious boy apart from his dark powers and crazy attitude. Why did you attack my country, she asked in a stern tone. Again, that indifferent look in his eyes was her answer. What are your intentions, he continued, as an amused smile came across his face. You do know that you're my prisoner, and it's not the other way around, right? As she rolled her eyes. She was not even a little afraid of him despite her fate right in his hands. And he didn't know why he said those next words. I won't kill you or your comrades. As he surprised himself and her. You've done a wonderful job so far, she said in a sarcastic tone. I didn't want to. I don't have to explain myself to you, Naruto said, as she saw how flustered he was now that he calmed down. What's your name, boy, she said, as Naruto's eyebrow twitched. Shut up, you old hag, Naruto said, as her eyebrow twitched as she gave him a murderous glare. He turned his gaze away from her and looked over to the mountains as he was worried about Nagato. His friend was heading into a very dangerous situation, and he felt guilty about putting him in that place. But it was necessary for everything to fall into the plan. I'm counting on you, Nagato, Naruto said. Meanwhile, the panting Nagato finally made his way up there, as he noticed a middle-aged man and a beautiful woman stand up there. This was it. He couldn't fail. Everything counted on him and his actions, as he stood on shaky legs. But his legs betrayed him as he collapsed down. He heard footsteps, but then a voice spoke. Let him walk. The boy hasn't arrived in front of me yet. Nagato lifted up his head as he saw Hanzo the salamander, as Nagato could feel this overwhelming power from Hanzo. I have to walk, I won't cower. A proud Uzumaki never gives up, Nagato thought, as he slowly got to his feet. As he stood in front of Salamander Hanzo, confidently, not even wavering a bit. I'm pleased to finally meet you, Hanzo-sama, said Nagato. What's your name, boy? Said Hanzo. Nagato Uzumaki. So what kind of threat have you come to make after attacking my nations and my soldier? Said Hanzo, as he released a portion of killing intent along with that monstrous chakra of his. But Nagato stood firm despite everything. He could not mess this up. We don't offer any threats, but an alliance that is beneficial to both sides. Hanzo looked at him critically. By holding my soldiers against me as hostage, tell me, boy, have you killed any of them? It is a necessary step to protect my people. But I give you my word, none of your soldiers were killed. And despite the outcome of this meeting, they won't be killed. We deeply regret creating this situation, but it was unavoidable. So what happens now? Said Hanzo. If you wish peace and coexistence, then an alliance. If not, said Nagato, as Hanzo narrowed his gaze dangerously. If not, said Hanzo. If not, then something else at the least. Because I didn't push my way up here to offer a one-sided surrender. Hanzo went silent, as Nagato spoke again, when the flames of war reached in rain. There's a way to protect this great nation. I can tell you how to achieve it, if you listen to me. and open your mind. Maybe then we can truly work together for a peaceful new world. As Nagato glanced at the three of them. So, what shall it be, Hanzo-sama? Said Nagato. Time skip. Something happened. Something rather big. As Akino saw Nagato glaring at Naruto with so much murder in his eye. The three of them are waiting in Hanzo's throne room, waiting for the leader and his advisors. She didn't know what Nagato said to the man, but at least gave him a chance to present their case to him. As she saw the submissive, naive boy was slowly going away, as she knew that Naruto was behind this change. As Nagato had stepped up to his responsibilities, she had to admit whatever Naruto was doing was turning him into a fine man, and in time, a wonderful leader. As Naruto was standing on the opposite side of the room, his back pressed to the pillar, his face masked up. Despite the murderous looks Nagato was throwing his way, he simply folded his arms and wasn't paying attention. Akino knew that if it was not for these important negotiations, Nagato would be yelling at Naruto right now. She didn't like as well the way Naruto completed this mission by keeping the both of them in the dark. You did good. She looked as it was Naruto that spoke. As she turned towards Nagato, I'm sorry for putting you all through everything that's happened in the past few months, but rest assured you won't have to bear it any longer, Naruto said. Before neither of them could say anything, the doors opened up. A group of people walked in, led by Salamander Hanzo himself, as Nagato remembered the samurai commander and the beautiful blonde woman. As Akino looked at Hanzo for the first time, as Hanzo sheared a glance at Naruto, but Naruto didn't even look his way. As Naruto smirked as he saw Angel or Konan among the group. He had to admit she had a strange name, and despite their first rough meeting, he respected her skills. He simply didn't care about the others, specifically an old man and an old woman that were dressed in civilian clothing, as they were glaring at him hatefully. He also spotted a young boy their age, with spiky orange hair, as both of them exchanged curious glances before breaking away. Well, at least not everyone thinks I'm a freak, Naruto thought, as he could just imagine Akino's reaction if he said these thoughts out loud. But deep down it was a fact, its powers, it was unnatural to normal people, and they were very twisted. I have already heard of Nagato proposal and advantage of the Uzumaki's aligned with the Hidden Rain. Naruto simply nodded. You already know of what advances that the Uzumaki can provide for you. Despite the Hidden Rain increased strength, your ninjas are weak in comparison to those of the Great Five, as Naruto received many more dark looks from the two elders. But I can pardon Nagato and the rest of your clans, but not you, said Hanzo as he looked at Naruto. But guys, we'll be ending this episode right here. If you want the next part of this or know what to do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the rest of the what ifs that I post today and enjoy each and every one of them. But for now guys, I'm out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.